Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be back on the Corvette today. We're going to start wrapping up some of these final projects for this build series. What we're going to be doing today is justifying why we needed the bigger fuel pump, the E85 sensor, the flex fuel sensor, the wire harness, and all that good stuff. The reason that we went with all of those mods was to decrease the size of the supercharger pulley. Like this. Right here what we have is an Edelbrock supercharger pulley. The price was like $35 to $40. It wasn't that expensive, but part number is 2715822. You can see that on the screen. This is a 3-inch pulley. Currently on the car is a 3.25-inch pulley. So with this smaller pulley, I should be seeing about between 10 to 11 pounds of boost. I know right now I'm at like low 9 psi, so maybe 11, maybe 12 psi with this smaller pulley. Now there is one more pulley that I could go down to. That's the 2 3/4, 2.75 inch, but that would be maxing out the blower at like 14 to 16 psi, and I'm still trying to keep it together because you guys have to remember the bottom end is stock. I haven't modified that at all. I don't know, it's not forged. Still cast pistons and crank and all that stuff. So that's just kind of the limit of how far I want to push this. So figure I needed more fuel, E85, external pump, all of this should support this mod. Now honestly guys, I think I probably could just run the stock Z06 fuel pump with the bigger injectors and be fine on this pulley, but kind of want to go for a little bit more power, and so part of that will be getting this pulley on the car. Another mod to go along with the smaller pulley is this 90mm idler pulley. I saw this mod on, there's a guy in Corvette forum, I can't remember his name. It might be Canuck. Yeah, I think Canuck is a member of the Corvette forum and he has the same pulley. This pulley is from ATI, and basically what it will do, it will replace the idler pulley that's on the Edelbrock bracket that came stock. So this should be a simple, just pull the two pulleys off, pull the belt off, and swap to the bigger idler, the smaller supercharger pulley, and we should be good. Now this won't decrease boost at all. This is just to help increase the belt wrap so that the belt doesn't slip. Because I know I don't have the 8-rib pulley system on this car, it's just a standard 6, and I think that those cars, you know, like the LSA and on the SS, it's got that separate drive for the supercharger system. This is just to help prevent belt slip, and I'll be honest guys, I'm already experiencing belt slip. There's some residual like belt dust on the back of the blower that I can see. It's actually kind of on the blower, on the water pump. If I can see it, I'll show you guys, but those are the two last remaining upgrades for this project. Now, you guys might ask about belt size. This is kind of a tricky subject because I'm just not sure what we're going to find out. Now, when I did the upgraded tensioner system and the smaller supercharger pulley like 2 years ago, I actually went with a 102.5-inch belt, like 102.5. Yeah, it sounds like a radio station, but it was 102.5 length belt, and it's been perfect. I haven't thrown belts, hasn't chucked anything. It's like the tightest belt I could get on there without having to go with a even smaller belt. Now I do have a 102-inch belt. I think I have a 103-inch belt, but from what I read on the forums, there's a guy has the same setup: the upgraded E-Force tensioner, the 90mm idler, and the 3-inch pulley, and he experienced belt slip with the 103-inch belt. And he recommended going with a smaller belt. It happens to be I've got 102.5 on the car, so hopefully we don't have to change the belt. You know, if we do, this swap's going to get way worse because I have to drain the radiator, pop the upper radiator hose off, and try to fit that 102-inch belt on there. But I just hopefully we don't have to do that. So let's get started on the idler and supercharger pulley swap. Okay guys, to begin the swap, what we're simply going to need to do is release the tension on the idler pulley, and to do that just want to push in on the blower belt, and it's off. By the way, that's just a 15mm socket that I put on the tensioner, pushed it to the driver's side, and it released everything. Now, the idler pulley, I think I'm going to do first. It's right here. I think it's a 13mm bolt. Just pull that out and we should be able to swap it. Okay guys, this thing's on there pretty well. So you need your big pipe to help break it loose. There might be red Loctite on here. I'm not entirely sure. So okay, I got the bolt out, but we're gonna have a little issue here. So let's figure this out. Okay guys, I got the OEM pulley off, and I was concerned about there being a different shaft size going through this pulley and going through the ATI pulley. Because I pulled this bolt out and I was like, wow, that so doesn't look like it's gonna be the right size. But what happened is the actual pulley kind of sits on a shaft coming out of the bracket. So the pulley kind of would sit with that bracket coming through and sitting like that, and then the screw just screws in like that. So I had a little bit of concern that this pulley wasn't going to fit properly, but we should be good. I just need to push this on there. And as you guys can see, there's the shaft that I was talking about that I'm going to push this bigger idler pulley onto. Okay guys, as you can see, I have the idler pulley installed. I had to go grab a longer bolt out of my bolts parts bin. It was the same diameter, same thread, it was just longer. I haven't torqued it down yet for final installation, but you know, it's installed, it's not moving, the pulley's freely spinning. One thing you guys have to worry about is going to be the clamp for the water pump. Upper hose, radiator hose going to the water pump, because that could interfere with your idler. Ours clears just barely. I want to show you guys something. You see the black dust down there? I mentioned earlier I thought I was getting belt slip. Well, that's proof of it, because that's just straight up dust coming from the belt. If you look at the main channels of the belt, I don't see anything, but if you look at the outer layer, it's kind of worn. So just proof that I think I was getting some belt slip, and there's the dust coming from it. So what we gotta do now is take apart the cold air intake, the throttle body, and then we'll get access to the supercharger pulley. Okay guys, as you can see, I kind of skipped ahead just a little bit. Took the intake off, it's right here. Took the throttle body off, that's right here. To get that all off, it's just the 7mm nuts holding on the hose, the reinforced silicone hose coupler from the intake to the throttle body. It's two 8mm nuts that came off. 4 bolts for the throttle body, they're 10mm, take those out. And the only thing you have to disconnect are 3 wires. Throttle body wire, your PVC hose, and way down there, way over here is the map sensor. So pretty simple to get the car torn apart, and you have a large gaping hole. Also down here you can see the Edelbrock style heat exchanger. It's like, I don't know, 2.5 inches thick. It's all TIG welded aluminum, there's no plastic tanks on it, and it's all one piece. That might get upgraded in the future. We'll see how the dyno results are with this setup, but kind of thinking for track days and, you know, extended performance, that the stock heat exchanger system, even that tank right there, that might get upgraded someday, but that's for down the road. So today we are trying to take the supercharger pulley off. Okay guys, I actually have the belt back on the supercharger because you have to have this pulley under tension to be able to remove these bolts. And I actually had to cheat a little bit. I actually had to take the idler pulley back off and take the bolt out, back the idler pulley back off, slip the belt behind the pulley, put the pulley and the bolt back in, and then slip the belt off of the blower and push, put the belt back around the tensioner, push the tensioner almost all the way forward, and then I was finally able to get the belt back around the supercharger pulley, just so that I could get the system tight, just so that I can take it back apart again. But I skipped all those steps. Y'all didn't need to see it, but basically what we're going to do is use the blower under tension and back these bolts out. The tool that I'm using is a Duralast socket. It's a 5, so I'm assuming that's a Allen head 5mm. I could be absolutely wrong about it, but I kind of think that that's what that is. It's a Allen head and a metric 5. Because you're not going to have a imperial standard size 5. So, and the goal here is I'm just breaking the bolts loose. Okay guys, and that is how you get the supercharger pulley off an Edelbrock blower. So here's all your supercharger pulleys from Edelbrock, except for that 2 3/4. Haven't run that one yet. Probably won't run that one just because we'll be maxing out the blower. Stock, if you buy the base kit, it's a 3.875 inch. With the tuner kit, I believe this is the 599 horsepower at the crank with the tuner, the factory can tune that Edelbrock sends these 3.5. When I built the car 2 years ago, this is actually, it must have got rubbed off. This is the 3 1/4, and here is the 3 inch. So this is what we're going to be going with today. And the cool thing is, Edelbrock is actually pretty nice that they don't force you into a OEM style pulley system. So you're able to swap pulleys with just taking those 4 bolts off. So that's actually pretty sweet. Now what I need to do is find the one bolt that I dropped. And I didn't hear it hit the floor, so that kind of blows. But I'm going to put red Loctite on all these bolts. So it's pretty cool that Edelbrock sends you, like, they sell the kit with the hub. Like, they want you to swap the pulley. It's kind of cool that they do that, because some companies, actually, I don't know, maybe other supercharger companies don't do that, but like, I'm just thinking of the LSA, LS9. I've got the LSA and the SS, and I'm gonna have to spend a whole bunch of money on a new hub, pull the snout off the blower, and just a bunch of crap, and it kind of sucks. I don't really want to deal with it, but it is what it is. So let's get this 3 inch pulley onto the blower. Okay guys, I got the smaller pulley on. All the bolts are in. I need to re-torque everything, but I need to go look up those figures first. Then we need to get the belt on. So let's do a little bit of reading on the torque specs and go from there. The idler is going to be 15 foot-pounds. I'm sorry, 18 foot-pounds. As you guys can see, I tightened down pretty hard by hand, so we're good. Now the supercharger pulley itself, that's going to be 7.5 foot-pounds. It's actually like 7.58, but in this case I'm not going to round up just because I don't want to strip any bolts inside the blower, especially the snout. So alright guys, that's it. 7.5 foot-pounds for the pulley, 18 foot-pounds for the idler. We should be good. The only other thing I wanted to say was I have a 102.5 inch belt on here. I think we're going to be good. I mean, this belt is pretty damn tight. I think the larger idler and the smaller blower pulley are offsetting each other. That's why the belt is still working, and you know, I didn't have too much trouble getting the belt over the pulley. I might be able to go down to half size, but until I have issues with this, I'm just gonna use it as is. Like I said earlier in the video, the guy had that 103 millimeter belt, 103 inch belt, and I have a 102.5 inch belt. The guy didn't really specify if you need an inch or half inch, but they only go by, you know, half an inch increment, so I should be good. I think I'm in the target area of belt size, proper belt size that I need, but hopefully this bigger idler offsets any belt slip, you know, because it should be a lot tighter now around the supercharger pulley, just having more surface area, more belt wrap, and won't slip. But I really won't know until I get the car back from the tuner. That's kind of the next project, is to get the car over the tuner. Obviously, I probably could drive the car with the pulley, but I want it tuned properly for this amount of this boost level. And plus, I've got the flex fuel. I gotta get that turned on, the E85, and I got the bigger fuel pump. As you guys see, I still have some wiring to do, but you know, for this part, the supercharger upgrade, we're pretty much done. Okay, guys, we're about finished with this. The throttle body bolts are 9 foot-pounds. Yeah, I mean, you could pretty much hand tighten this. Okay guys, as you can see, I have the supercharger pulley on, the idler pulley is in, and the intake and all that is back set up. So that pretty much completes the supercharger upgrades for this project. I hope this gives you some insight on how to swap a pulley and the idler pulley on your Edelbrock supercharger kit. It's not overly complicated. It probably took me an hour, and that's stopping and filming, retorquing things and finding stuff. Maybe an hour and a half, but honestly, you could probably knock one of these out in 30 minutes if you're just doing a supercharger pulley. My only word of advice would be to leave the belt and tensioner, everything tight, knock the bolts loose on the supercharger pulley. That way you can don't have to put it back together to loosen those bolts. I didn't do that, had to put it back all together, and just adds more time. Hopefully that gives you enough information to help you guys do the swap on your car. So if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. Thanks and have a great day.